But first tonight, the Albanese government has today been told that more needs to be done to tackle anti-Semitism because anti-Semitism has not been tackled. But Anthony Albanese will tell you
there is no place in Australia for anti-Semitism.
The Prime Minister with the same line there for the 100th time. So we have a report released today into what should be done to stop this awful scourge of anti-Semitism in society. But there's still a conversation we are not having. And it has not been raised in the report, and most of our politicians are too scared to touch it. And it is, in my view, a big part of the problem. It centres around multiculturalism, in particular, the impact of radical Islamism. And until we do more to stop importing people into this country who are extreme in their views and who do not share our values, I fear nothing will change, report or no report. I'll explain why in a moment. But the fact that Labor even needed a report to make it wake up to anti-Semitism is baffling. I mean, the fact it's taken the Prime Minister this long to wake up to that is even worse. Labor has allowed hate to flourish by sitting on its hands for almost 2 years while Jewish Australians were made to feel unsafe and our social cohesion fractured. I applaud the Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism, Gillian Siegel, who is a tireless advocate for the community as it faces daily threats and intimidation.
These are not isolated events, and they form part of a broader pattern of intimidation and violence that is making Jewish Australians feel very unsafe. And this should concern every Australian, because the safety and dignity of one community affects us all.
Now, the problem is we only have a set of recommendations, but the Prime Minister could not even bring himself to make one commitment today.
We'll now carefully consider the report recommendations. There's a number of things in here that we are doing. There's a number of things can be implemented quickly. There are a number of things that will require work over a period of time.
Well, how long is it going to take? I find it very hard to believe the PM was not kept abreast of the key issues in this report over the course of 9 months. And seriously, what is it going to take? For someone to get killed, like the 2 Israeli embassy workers in the US? I mean, we already have seen synagogues firebombed here, 4 attacks in Melbourne this week alone, anti-Semitic graffiti attacks, violence, intimidation, the list goes on. Have some bloody courage, Prime Minister. And later in the show, I will speak to Joel Burney from the Australia, Israel and Jewish Affairs Council about the key recommendations, but I want to give you my key takeaway. The report recommended Australian Border Force officials be trained to spot and deport anti-Semites. The report says migration policies must guard against the importation of hate. Visa applicants should be screened for anti-Semitic views or affiliations. Non-citizens involved in anti-Semitism should face visa cancellation and removal from Australia. Well, the reality is Labor already has the power under Section 501 of the Migration Act to deny or cancel a visa if a person seeks to vilify a group in the community. Yet Tony Burke has not deported one hate preacher. Not one. Instead, he's barred an Israel-American speaker and Israel's former Interior and Justice Minister. The minister thought he would throw a bone to the Jewish community last week by banning the visa of rapper Kanye West for his new song Heil Hitler, even though he has no plans to tour Australia. And the problem is with people already in this country. The hate is already here. Yet Labor, even today, conflated the issue.
There have been visas that we've denied to people because they've expressed extreme anti-Semitic and indeed extreme Islamophobic views. So we've used that power and we do it to ensure that we keep Australians safe.
And don't forget, after October 7, in the first instance, Labor conflated anti-Semitism with Islamophobia as if both were an equal issue in the country. I mean, what about the hate being spewed out of some of the mosques? What has Labor done about that? We should be giving the boot to people who are not citizens and have committed crimes, abused our values and our goodwill, but we are not. Instead, we granted visas to 3,000 Gazans with little to no security checks. It's almost been 2 years since the October 7 massacre, and since then, our social cohesion has blown up. And the elephant in the room remains. The topic most politicians in this country don't want to touch, yet many of us, you and I, are talking about. And that is multiculturalism. Those who we have imported into this country who hold extremist views, whose values and culture are so far removed from our own. Radical Islamism is incompatible with Western democracies. Yet the Prime Minister told us today that multiculturalism is our strength and that it will be the litmus test for the report's success.
It will be successful when Australia's the sort of country that I want to see each and every day, where students can go to school without any fear, where cultural diversity and expression is flourishing.
Sorry, Prime Minister, you're never going to see cultural diversity and expression flourish the way we're going. There are people who have been welcomed here with open arms, some who hate us, some who hate our values, and some who have no interest in assimilating. And this sentiment was echoed by Liberal MP Garth Hamilton on the show last night.
It's a real challenge here. We now have a multicultural society, and there are some cultures that hate others. That's a fact. I've lived in the Middle East. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it. This is what's been brought into Australia, and I don't think we have a strong control over the culture that we're trying to create here in Australia anymore.
All you need to do is look at how countries around the world are taking swift action. Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, deported Pakistani Imam Zulfikar Khan from Italy in 2024 for promoting Islamic terrorism. His rhetoric included strong anti-Western and anti-Semitic sentiments. Last year, France expelled a Tunisian imam for radicalism. And recently, a French court upheld a decision to deport a Moroccan imam due to several years of systemic, unqualified and anti-Semitic discourse. All it takes is a hardline stance. Where was the hardline stance when "Where are the Jews?" or whatever was shouted at the steps of the Sydney Opera House? Or when a hate preacher told us he was elated at the October 7 massacre? Or when the flags of Hezbollah and other terror groups were so brazenly flown in our streets? The common denominator is radical Islamism. And until we wake up to the fact and have this conversation, I fear that nothing will change. You only need to look to the UK to see a once democratic nation be torn down by hate via an out-of-control migration policy. So sure, I agree, this report is a great step in the right direction for the Jewish community if it is adopted. But there is a bigger issue at play, and it impacts all of us.